Welcome to the April 2018 Star Wars Canon Update. This month we got a new novel and 8 new comic issues, so let's get into it. Last Shot by Daniel Jose Older told us 3 connected stories about Han and Lando at various points in their life. There were a few hints about what we can expect to see in Solo, a Star Wars story, but mostly I think it served as an introduction to the younger versions of the characters. It also brought some fun little things back into canon, like Lando's yacht, the Lady Luck. I've already done a handful of videos on the book that you can check out if you want, but my short review is that I really enjoyed it. Older nailed Han and Lando's voices. I wouldn't call it a must-read in the way that I felt Catalyst was for Rogue One, but if you've got the time, check it out. You can pick up the audiobook for free on Audible using the link in the description if you're interested. Darth Vader issues 14 and 15 came out this month and continued the War on Mon Cala plot. Something I think this arc is doing really well is showing war on Mon Cala. I know that seems insanely obvious, but I just like seeing how the Mon Calamari and the Quarren fight. Their water-covered planet makes things very unique, and it's cool to see. We also get to learn some stuff about Vader and the Empire. For example, we got to see the Sea Trooper Stormtrooper variant for the first time, and it was revealed that Vader's suit has oxygen reserves for a limited time, and that his suit can only withstand so much pressure, but that's nothing the Force can't fix. Finally, we got to learn the identity of that mysterious Jedi, and it was just some guy named Bar. That's not a problem, but it did feel like kind of a letdown. Why hide his face if we weren't going to recognize him anyway? I don't know, that is a bit of a nitpick, and a bigger reveal is that he isn't alone, he's protecting a number of students, but Vader and the Inquisitors are coming for them. Oh, and speaking of the Inquisitors, we learned that the new one is the 10th brother. Jumping forward a few decades, Star Wars issue 46 continued its Mon Cala subplot. I still really like that we're learning about related events at the same time in 2 separate series. You don't have to read both to understand what's going on, but it's just this added level of storytelling I think is really neat. Luke, Han, and Leia go all Mission Impossible and use a changeling to imitate a Moff while they kidnap him and use him to break into an underwater prison. It's a fine little story, but it's not grabbing me quite as much as I want. I say this every month, but I honestly do think the art style is holding me back from truly appreciating this comic. Dr. Aphra 19 seemed to finish up the most recent arc, and last month we ended on a really strange note, but I'm glad this latest issue didn't push things much farther. Hive Base 1 is now destroyed, and it seems like Aphra has gotten out from under 000's thumb, but he and BT-1 are still out and about. This arc was interesting, but I hope the next one gets back into archaeology. I liked how Aphra got to explore some ancient Jedi lore in the first few issues of the series, and I'd love to see more of that. Poe Dameron 26 gave us our very first Star Wars content after The Last Jedi. Poe tells Finn and Rey what happened to him on Jakku and how he got back to the Resistance. The story Poe tells lines up with what was already revealed in the Force Awakens novelization. There is a lot of fun banter between the 3 of them, and it's just cool to see them finally all interacting together in one place. I'm surprised and excited that the Poe comic will be immediately diving into the time after The Last Jedi. I would guess Lucasfilm's willingness to start exploring that era means we can expect a significant time jump in between episodes 8 and 9. Star Wars Adventures 9 was pretty much the same as all the other Adventures comics. They're fine, mostly inconsequential little tales, although one of them this time around was about 3PO and R2 shortly after episode 3, right after 3PO's memory wipe, so he wasn't familiar with R2 and he kinda had to get to know his old friend again, and that was actually something really interesting that I hadn't ever considered. Star Wars Adventures also released their first annual, which introduced a number of legend species and characters. The planet Sarka and the Sarkan species are back, along with their excruciatingly complex protocol rituals. But I think more people will be interested in the return of Jackson and Amaya. Their story also brought in an Old Republic-style astromech droid and the space station known as the Wheel, which was in Legends and kind of already canon because of the Freemaker adventures. But anyway, let's talk about Jackson. I have a feeling some people will take issue with him coming back, and I'll admit I kind of laughed and rolled my eyes when I heard it would be happening, but beyond that I don't think it merits any anger. Don't get me wrong, I'm not really a fan of the character, but this is harmless, especially if he's relegated to occasional appearances in the comic targeted at kids. Finally, Thrawn issue 3 caught us up with Governor Pryce's story from the Thrawn book. Again, I didn't notice any extra information in this adaptation, but I'm still enjoying it. The art is great, the pacing is on point. If you don't have time to read the book, this comic is a very good substitute. Also released this month was a Choose Your Destiny Han and Chewie adventure and a young reader adaptation of the Chewbacca comic. I'm gonna give Story of the Month this time around to Last Shot. It sufficiently got me excited for Solo and was a really fun story in its own right. Han and Lando are so well written, I would have happily just read an entire book of them sitting around talking about the Falcon, clothes, and gambling. But that's it for April. The Canon update will return on June 1st to cover all the new content in May, which includes 12 new comics, 1 new book, and I feel like something else, I think. Oh yeah, a new movie. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with Star Wars content and lore on a daily basis, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out my Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.